Hi, my name is Breck Baldwin. I'm one of the researchers working on the BioNotate project, and I'm going to take you through some annotations. First off, we're at the home page, and what we'd like you to do is definitely please review the instructions, which are fairly short, and because then you'll know what we're asking you to do. And once you've read the instructions, please go to the annotation interface, which is off of here. The annotation interface has some buttons at the top that will hopefully prove helpful. This takes you back to the home page. This link, the instructions, takes you back to the instructions page that we just saw. The next two links are a little different. This is a link to the EntreGene website where you can actually find more information about genes and decide whether they're a gene or a protein, as well as a link to the Wikipedia, which is also a useful resource. There's a contact link. Please send us an email if you have any questions. So, without further ado, let's do some annotations. The first thing we'd like you to do is sign in. You can operate anonymously, but we won't be able to really use that as usefully as if you tell us a name. It doesn't need to be your real name, but we just need a recoverable username so we'll know what annotations you've done and when you're done. So I'm going to go with the name Breck Baldwin. And we're in. So this is a very small annotation set. You'll notice there's only 1 out of 4 completed. I've already done a little bit of annotation. And so what we're going to do is go through the process. So the basic question is the highlighted text a gene or protein as asked here? And you have 3 choices, yes, no, or not sure. So the text that we care about is highlighted in yellow here, APRN. And as we look at this text, we can see the context around it is the newly formed Australian Pediatric Research Network, APRN, aims to facilitate general pediatrician participation, so on and so forth. So pretty clearly this is not mention of a gene or a protein. It's an acronym for the Australian Pediatric Research Network. So I'll go ahead and say no to that and submit and go to the next one. So on to the next snippet. We've picked up 1, we get credit, and now we have nothing obviously on the face. On the interface, you may have to scroll down a little bit, and then we can take a look at where the highlighted phrase is, and now we have this phrase, tyrosine hydroxylase. So because I've done a bunch of annotations, I know that anything ending in ASE, the hydroxylase, is likely to be an enzyme, and enzymes are proteins. But I'm going to double check that, and the place I'm going to go, since I think it's probably a protein, is I'll go to Wikipedia and type in the name. I need to remember to copy this and go back to Wikipedia and paste it. The Wikipedia is an excellent knowledge source for all kinds of information about biological research. It just seems to be the sort of shared scratch pad for researchers all around. So anyway, here we are. This is the right page, and I just want to make sure that this is actually a protein. Yeah, this is looking good. It's mentioned in Homologene, which is an external resource that talks about genes and proteins. RNA expression pattern, that's also indicative of it. It has an EntreGene ID, which we'll look at later, but this is definitely indicative that it's linked to a gene or protein because that's a database of genes, which are themselves proteins. We can look around a little more. It says it's an enzyme, and once I know it's an enzyme, then I know it's a protein. So we'll go back and we'll give this an annotation of yes. The next snippet has highlighted platelet-derived growth factor, PDGF. And just for variation, we will go to EntreGene to try and figure out whether this is a gene or a protein. This is a good context. It looks reasonable for being something that is a gene or a protein. And so we'll go to EntreGene search and paste in the phrase. From the link, we put you to the specific database that is for genes. And let's see, we have platelet-derived growth factor receptor. Oh, that's looking good. We have all kinds of species in here. This is a Norwegian rat, Homo sapiens, PDFGFA, platelet-derived growth factor alpha. Yeah, this is looking pretty promising. We have an alpha and we have a beta. Here's a PDGFB. And just for the tour's sake, let's go to PDGFA and see what that says. So platelet-derived growth factor alpha polypeptide is the official full name of this gene. It's got an official symbol, and I'm going to go with this. It's sort of talking about this is not an exact reference, but it's talking about the platelet-derived growth factor family here as I scan, and that's good enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a mention of a gene. So I'm going to say yes. And once you're finished, then it will say you're done. And thank you for participating, and we'll be off. Please send us email if you'd like to participate in other studies. You'll be asked to do around 20 of these, and we will be using them in our pilot to see whether we can get non-specialists doing this task. Thank you very much.